For Christmas, I'm going to attempt to make a bunch of my great-grandma's old recipes.
Oh, I think Christmas is one of the best times of the year.
All the best this holiday season.
Hey, this is Larry Gothrop, General Manager of WHBC AM and FM, and I want to wish all our listeners, all our clients, all our fans, and our enormously great staff a happy and joyous holiday season, and I hope everyone stays well.
And I'm Pam Cook. We'd like to wish you and yours all the best this holiday season on News Talk 1480 WHBC.
The following program is sponsored by the Medicine Center Pharmacies.
If you suspect you have a medical issue, please contact your healthcare provider.
You're listening to News Talk 1480 WHBC and Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Now here's your host, Paul White.
Good morning and welcome to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. I'm your pharmacist, Paul White. Thanks to Mercy Medical Center, Studio Arts and Glass, and of course our socially distant technical producer, J.D. DeAngelis. Joining Brad and I this morning is our very special guest, Sereen Zawahri Krasuna, registered and licensed dietitian and coordinator of Mercy Weight Management. Good morning, Sereen, and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
She tells us this is her 7th appearance.
All right. Well, just as the freshman 15 is synonymous with the first year of college, the quarantine 19 has become a common way to refer to the weight gain during the COVID-19 pandemic. As holidays approach, we find ourselves trying not to add the holiday 5 to that total. This morning, we're going to talk with Sereen about healthy eating during the holiday season and perhaps a tip or two on what to do if we found some of the quarantine 19 on our scales. I want to give a public service announcement also that if you still haven't gotten your flu vaccine, we have flu vaccine available at the medicine centers. So please stop in and get your vaccination today to protect yourself against all things floating around out there, including the pandemic. Practice good habits and get your flu vaccine today if you haven't gotten it. We'd also like to remind our listeners that our program is available on our podcast. So you can search your favorite podcast app for Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy and subscribe to our program.
I think that everybody probably knows you because of the number of times you've been on the show. But for those listeners, you might need to kind of introduce yourself and tell us what you do at Mercy Medical Center.
Sounds good. So I'm a dietitian at Mercy. I work in the weight management department. So we just specialize in helping people lose weight, whether it's 5 pounds or 100 pounds. So we have a fun time over there.
So what about Mercy Weight Management Program and the programs you offer?
So it's nice because we're conveniently located on Mercy's main campus. We offer quite a few different options. We actually have 5 different options, but we are tailoring our programs to, help people lose weight. If they, like I said, have 5 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds plus to lose, we can help them out. We use meal replacements if they are interested. It's called OptiFast. Or we can do, one-on-one counseling to help them lose the weight. So we're there to meet anyone's needs. So we just personalize plans based on lifestyle.
So the average American gains weight over this upcoming holiday season, and now that everybody is somewhat incarcerated in their homes, and don't go out and don't do this and don't do that, I would suspect it's going to be a little heavier this year. What do you think?
I'm with you on that. Now, typically the average American gains a couple pounds over the holidays from Thanksgiving to New Year's, and takes a little bit of time to lose that weight. And sometimes, just talking to people, they say it's kind of easy to just gain every year over the holidays over and over again. So sometimes it's not as easy to lose that weight. However, this year is a little bit different because, we have that added factor of being at home more so. And I know Brad and I were chatting a little bit before we started, and people did really good at the beginning of the quarantine, wanting to exercise, and all these companies offering these free promotions for exercise, where you can do it virtually. And I think as the quarantine kind of happened to extend longer than any of us thought, it kind of got a little bit harder, a little bit more stressful. All of us are adjusting our jobs to this ongoing, pandemic. So we're expecting to see a little bit more this year, unfortunately. However, there are nice kind of programs in place to help people out, whether it's virtually or, seeing a dietitian. There's so many different options. So hopefully, people do take advantage of that.
Well, we know it's going to be somewhat different this year as far as people not, a lot of people not getting together in big party whatevers. And you know, we had this, I don't know whether this is true or not, but after Thanksgiving, we had this bump up of Corona, you know, and are we going to have the same thing after Christmas? And so what do we do here? Go into somebody's house to say, okay, I'm only going to have one drink and one cookie, or what's the game plan here?
You know, it's hard to say what the safest thing to do, and people want to still keep those holiday traditions alive. So something that I've, suggested is, I've had a lot of patients say, I still want to make my holiday cookies. So we've talked about, healthier substitutions for that, for holiday cookies. We talked about limiting how often people have holiday cookies, but we still have to, worry about gaining that extra weight, even though we're not having all these parties, let's say. But I know people are doing like cookie drop-offs where they make their cookies like they normally would, and instead of having people over, they're dropping them off to their house. So we still have to just be cautious about that because we could gain the weight just as easily.
Okay. Low-cal cookies, huh?
Yeah.
Now, do you tell your patients how to bake low-calorie stuff?
I do. It is a really common question this time of year. I have a Thanksgiving recipe for a crustless pumpkin pie that people really actually like. So I tend to give that recipe out every year.
What's the sweetener you use in that?
Stevia.
Stevia, do you really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the easiest to bake with? Substitute sugar?
Probably not the easiest, but it's the healthiest.
Yeah, okay, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So what other substitutions can we make in our cooking this year to make dinner a little healthier?
That's a good question. So I always encourage people to incorporate more vegetables. We typically, tend to remember the protein, the starch, but a lot of times we forget that vegetable. So it's a great idea to have a couple options, whether it's a salad and a cooked vegetable or two different types of cooked vegetables, because if you load up on a low-calorie option, you are less likely to have as big of a portion from the higher-calorie foods. Plus, the fiber helps fill you up as well, so you're not getting as much from the starch, let's say, which is a higher-calorie option. And with your protein, too, if you do lean protein, that's going to be more beneficial, like chicken or turkey or even fish. That's going to be less salty typically as well compared to, let's say, a ham. And then a nice twist on mashed potatoes that I like recommending is doing baked potatoes. And if you just kind of get ones that are not too big, but that way, one, it's a little bit easier for you to make because, you just wrap them up and you can throw them in the oven. But also, you can kind of have a nice topping bar where you do, green onions. Even plain Greek yogurt in place of the sour cream can help cut back on calories and fat. So that's kind of a good option, to keep your baked potato healthier. Now, instead of mashed potatoes, which would have, the added calories and fat from the butter and the milk, it's a great way to cut back. So those are kind of some substitutions that you could try to make for your holiday meals.
What do you suggest for appetizers, since those can be kind of a challenge to, it's just a little appetizer, right? It's not going to make that much difference.
A little bite here, a little bite there. And that could definitely add up. You're looking at a couple hundred extra calories just from those appetizers. So I always encourage lower calorie ones, especially vegetables. And you can make those so festive. They have these, if you Google, vegetable trays for the holidays, they have really cute snowman ones, and they use cauliflower as like the body of the snowman. They have Christmas tree ones where you use broccoli for the greens, and you decorate it with carrots, things like that. So, making it fun and making it healthy is great. And again, if you have kids, that would be a great activity to do with them as well because they get so excited about those things. And then fruit as well would be a good appetizer. You're not getting all that extra fat from the appetizer if you stick with those fruits and vegetables.
All right, so now then let's talk about baking. Cookies are a crutch in our household. So what can we do to maybe enjoy some of these sweet treats a little healthier?
The nice thing is you could still have, that tradition of the baking, which I know a lot of us do enjoy doing, whether it's with our parents or our kids or grandkids. A couple of things you could try out is you can actually replace sugar and use applesauce, and it actually makes your holiday baking more moist, which is nice. I've done it more so with cakes, and it just turns out really flavorful using that applesauce in place of the sugar. Applesauce can also take the place of oil or even eggs. So the nice thing is, you cut back on fat and sugar, and then you just have, a little bit more moisture so it's not so dry. And you just use the even conversion. So if it's 1 cup of sugar, it would be 1 cup of applesauce.
So isn't there a lot of sugar in applesauce?
You get the unsweetened one. Good point. If you get the unsweetened one, then you don't have any added sugar. It's just the natural sugar.
What's the unsweetened one taste like?
See, the good thing is you're mixing it with other things, so we don't have to worry about tasting it raw.
Okay.
It'll just give it more moisture. Something else you could do is you could take a banana and mash it up, and you can use that in place of oil. The recipe calls for oil. That helps cut back on the fat, definitely. It gives you more nutrients. And you would just use half a banana to 1 cup of oil, let's say. So, I should say, you would mash up the banana, measure, let's say it gives you half of a cup, and the recipe calls for 1 cup of oil. That would be the perfect conversion for that. And the nice thing with bananas to talk about is you can even make pancakes out of bananas, which is nice. It's just a really good substitute. And it's healthy, and like I said, it gives you a lot of your nutrients, your potassium, things like that. A lot of us know that egg whites are a really good substitution for whole eggs. So that's going to get rid of the cholesterol that's found in the yolk. So we're going to consume, less fat that way, which is especially helpful for somebody who has high cholesterol and, maybe on cholesterol medication. And you would do 2 egg whites to 1 whole egg. And then another thing to mention, too, is, avocados are very popular the last number of years. So if you use 3/4 of a serving of avocado in place of a serving of butter, that is a really good conversion. You could do that for baking or even cooking. It's really good with, when you're cooking food, especially meats, to use avocado just because, it softens the food up. And that way you get less saturated fat. You're still going to have fat from the avocado, but it's going to be the healthy, unsaturated fat, which doesn't necessarily clog our arteries like the saturated fat would. And then, as always, you can use like a whole wheat flour in place of a white flour. There's an even conversion there. So it's nice because there's a lot of things that you could do to make your recipe a little bit healthier, but still be able to enjoy those treats.
All right. Well, I think it's time for our first commercial break. You are listening to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy.
You're listening to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy and your hosts, pharmacists Paul White and Brad White. Remember, you can get more information right now by visiting medshoprx.com. That's medshop.rx.com. We'll be back with more of Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy in just a moment.
Hi, Paul White from the Medicine Center Pharmacy. From 1976 to the new year, 2020, we've been part of the Canton community. This year, we celebrate 44 years of service. Thank you for your business and continued support of the Medicine Center Pharmacies. A lot has changed in the pharmacy world over the past 44 years, but one thing hasn't: our commitment to your health. Stop by your local Medicine Center Pharmacy in Canton, Louisville, Minerva, or New Philadelphia, where wellness begins.
Mercy Medical Center wants you to know we are here for you literally and virtually. For our patient safety, Mercy is providing virtual doctor appointments from the comfort of your home. This service is available for stat care, urgent care, 7 days a week, and Mercy Primary Care Monday through Friday. See our website at cantonmercy.org/telehealth for office and appointment hours. Mercy telehealth visits are simple, convenient, and can be used by anyone who has access to a smartphone, tablet, or computer. computer. Our Mercy representatives are ready and happy to assist you. So, whether you are in need of urgent care for minor illnesses and injuries or would like a one-on-one with a Mercy primary care physician, Mercy is here for you. Mercy Medical Center telehealth appointments. Learn more at cantonmercy.org/telehealth. That's cantonmercy.org/telehealth. Online appointments are considered medical services and will be billed to your insurance copays and deductibles apply.
Hi, Paul White from the Medicine Center Pharmacy. In these difficult times, please stay calm and make sure your medical and healthcare supplies are well stocked. Have Kleenex, pain relievers, fever reducers such as Tylenol, and cough syrup like Robitussin, Dayquil, cough drops, and maybe a humidifier. And make sure you take a good multivitamin like Linus Pauling Super Multivitamins. Also, you might get a good probiotic, and make sure that you get plenty of rest and plenty of nutritious food. The Medicine Center Pharmacy in Canton, Louisville, Minerva, and New Philadelphia. You know us. We're the Half Off and Hot Buy store in Louisville. Our Christmas treat to you is 50% off of our already half-off Christmas seasonal merchandise on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Our lighted Christmas pictures are a knockout, and we have a huge inventory. Don't miss this sale. The Half Off and Hot Buy store in Louisville next to the Medicine Center Pharmacy. See us on Facebook and check our website, halfoffhotbuy.com.
You're listening to News Talk 1480 WHBC and Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Now here's your host, Paul White.
Welcome back to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Brad and I are discussing healthy eating with Sereen Zawahri Krasuna, registered and licensed dietitian and coordinator of Mercy Weight Management. She's really given us some tips here.
All right. Well, we were talking about a lot of good tips for baking before the break, and I appreciate those. And I've used applesauce in my pancakes before, and I challenge anyone to notice the difference instead of oil. But so that's an interesting tip. I didn't realize you could do it in place of sugars, too, so that's kind of neat. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about adult beverages. Since Christmas parties are going to be a little truncated this year, we may feel like keeping some traditions alive, like having a fun eggnog or something else might be in order to help us cope with the challenges of the world. So, Sereen, what should we do to avoid drinking all our calories? And are there some drinks that might be a little more favorable than others?
That's a really good question, especially this time of year. Eggnog is a very traditional drink. With eggnog, you have to be a little cautious because of, if you make it the traditional way or if you buy the traditional eggnog, it's going to have a lot of extra fat and a lot of extra sugar. So you have to be really careful with that because if you, consume it often or if you have a glass, a couple times a week, that can definitely cause you to gain weight. Now, the positive thing is that you can make a few substitutions. Now, in the store, you could buy like a low-fat version of it, where they just don't add as much fat. They use, instead of whole milk, they'll use skim milk. So that definitely cuts back significantly on the fat. I've seen ones that have been as high as 15 or 16 grams of total fat for half of a cup. And when they switch to the low-fat, you're looking at about 3 grams for half of a cup of the eggnog. So it's kind of nice to be able to cut back, but you're still looking at a significant amount of added sugar. So I tell people if you're going to have it, then make it at home. That's the best option. And it's nice because you can go online and find all different types of recipes. You can even use almond milk if you don't like regular milk or if you have an allergy or intolerance. So the nice thing is, you can do all these different substitutions. But, with eggnog, let's say, if you use almond milk, then, you're cutting back on fat as well. And then you can use stevia, like I had mentioned earlier, for the sugar. That'll help cut back significantly on your sugar intake. So you just kind of want to be cautious with that. There's also other drinks like carbonated and sparkling waters or mixers, actually. There's a brand called Zevia that actually uses stevia as their sugar substitute in there. And you can use their mixers to make, your traditional drinks. So the nice thing is it's very, nowadays it's kind of more beneficial for us to have these healthier, traditional drinks or the healthier twist on our traditional drinks you just want to, be cautious about how much you're having. Now, you're not going to these holiday parties where you may, drink a little bit more than if you were at home, which is nice. It's a good way to limit yourself. But you still kind of want to just be cautious because it's very easy to get in a lot of extra fat and sugar from these drinks.
So a traditional eggnog off the shelf, calories and fat, what are we looking at calorie-wise for a dose of it?
Lots of calories. Too many, I should say. It's tough because it depends what brand you get, what kind you get. But, for example, if you go to a local coffee shop, you get, an eggnog coffee drink, let's say, you're looking at, maybe for a 16-ounce drink, 450 calories.
Jeez.
But you're looking at probably around 50 grams of sugar, just depending on where you go. Now, that's a lot because the average American woman should only have no more than 25 grams of added sugar a day, and males should have no more than 37.5 grams of added sugar a day. So if you're looking at, a 16 ounce and it's giving you about 50 grams, that's taking you a little bit higher. So, it's not going to have the alcohol in it, but it's going to have the coffee in it. I know a lot of people, do enjoy kind of those coffee-flavored holiday drinks.
My father-in-law used to put brandy and bourbon.
Oh, well, that'll get you. Now, the nice thing is you could actually take the extract. So I know a lot of people like to put rum in their eggnog. You could take that rum extract, which is just the flavoring of rum, and you could add that to your own version, which is nice because then you don't have those calories. Rum's not going to have, the fat in it or anything like that, but it's going to have those extra calories. So it's a nice way to still have that flavor, but not have to, worry about those extra added on calories.
Okay. Bottom of the hour, time for the news. Thanks for listening this morning.
You're listening to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy and your hosts, pharmacists Paul White and Brad White. Remember, you can get more information right now by visiting medshoprx.com. That's medshop.rx.com. We'll be back with more of Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy in just a moment.
Everybody is on the front line in this fight now, so we need your help.
Mask up, wash up, and back up.
WHBC AM 10, reliable as ever on News Talk 1480 WHBC.
From the News Talk 1480 WHBC newsroom, the Canton Urban League and other groups are sponsoring a Christmas celebration and giveaway this afternoon at the Southeast Community Center on Sherrick Road Southeast.
There are really hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gifts and many, many giveaways.
That is Mayor Tom Burnaby. Among other items to be handed out in a COVID-safe way, coats, hats, gloves, food, and more. Santa will also be there as well. It all goes from noon until 7. One of the country's most popular tourist destinations shutting down to travelers as COVID-19 continues to surge. Vacation travel to Lake Tahoe will be banned for at least 3 weeks. It all gets started today. Time magazine has named President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris 2020's Person of the Year. They topped Donald Trump, Dr. Anthony Fauci, and frontline healthcare workers, as well as the movement for racial justice. The honorees otherwise also include LeBron James as Athlete of the Year, BTS as Entertainer of the Year, and Zoom CEO Eric Yuan as Business Person of the Year. Time magazine started tradition back in 1927. More news coming up at 10 o'clock. I'm Pam Cook.
Mercy Medical Center wants you to know we are here for you literally and virtually. For our patient safety, Mercy is providing virtual doctor appointments from the comfort of your home. This service is available for stat care, urgent care, 7 days a week, and Mercy Primary Care Monday through Friday. See our website at cantonmercy.org/telehealth for office and appointment hours. Mercy telehealth visits are simple, convenient, and can be used by anyone who has access to a smartphone, tablet, or computer. computer. Our Mercy representatives are ready and happy to assist you. So, whether you are in need of urgent care for minor illnesses and injuries or would like a one-on-one with a Mercy primary care physician, Mercy is here for you. Mercy Medical Center telehealth appointments. Learn more at cantonmercy.org/telehealth. That's cantonmercy.org/telehealth. Online appointments are considered medical services and will be billed to your insurance copays and deductibles apply.
Hi, Paul White from the Medicine Center Pharmacy. In these difficult times, please stay calm and make sure your medical and healthcare supplies are well stocked. Have Kleenex, pain relievers, fever reducers such as Tylenol, and cough syrup like Robitussin, Dayquil, cough drops, and maybe a humidifier. And make sure you take a good multivitamin like Linus Pauling Super Multivitamins. Also, you might get a good probiotic, and make sure that you get plenty of rest and plenty of nutritious food. The Medicine Center Pharmacy in Canton, Louisville, Minerva, and New Philadelphia.
It's a winter wonderland at Studio Arts and Glass. Our annual holiday open house now through Thanksgiving. Take 20% off your entire order. Hand-blown glass ornaments, your Santas, jewelry, come make a wreath or a glass snowflake. 20% off your entire order. See our extended holiday hours at studioartsandglass.com. Shop local this holiday season.
Yes, we are open. We are open. The Medicine Center pharmacies and the Half Off and Out By store in Louisville are open. Some great services are still in play. Our drive-through windows, curb service, and our enhanced delivery service. Our stores are fully inventoried and fully staffed for your convenience. 13 pharmacists to help you with your medications and over-the-counter products. So don't hesitate to visit us or use one of our services. Medicine Center Pharmacies in Canton, Louisville, New Philadelphia, and Minerva.
Your severe weather station, News Talk 1480 WHBC.
You're listening to News Talk 1480 WHBC and Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Now here's your host, Paul White.
So, we're talking about dietary, Christmas, holidays, and how to minimize the number of calories and fat.
How important is our mindset when it comes to holiday eating?
You know, this is very crucial. With a lot of my patients, I see them week to week, and I will say a lot of them will tell me it's all about the mindset that they're in, how they do that week. And so for any of us, being in the right mindset of, wanting to eat healthy and, wanting to pay attention to what we eat and not wanting to gain weight is very important. If we don't give something much thought, a lot of times it just kind of flies by us. I'm sure a lot of us have experienced the week flying by and we don't realize, how that happened. So same thing with our eating. If we're not in tune to it, if we're not in tune to, how our body is feeling, if we're not in tune to what we're taking in, it's very, very easy for us to get added calories, added fat, added sugar, and then that just causes the scale to move. And, a lot of times we'll hear people go through the holiday season. January is a big time for people to reach out to us to lose weight. So I'll hear a lot of people when I sit down and discuss with them, when their weight came on, say that the holidays just get so stressful. And, this year is not going to be, any different. I think a lot of us are going to be a little bit more stressed on should we go see our family, should we not see our family, and, talking to our family through Zoom, things like that. So, it causes a lot of stress, and then we're not in tune to, what our weight is when we step on the scale. So week after week of the stress and maybe, not paying attention to our eating, we tend to gain weight. And that's why typically we gain a little bit of weight over the holidays. It definitely adds up, and that's why if we're in the right mindset, if we're being mindful with what we're eating, we typically tend to do really well and not gain any weight, which is nice. Now at Mercy, what we're doing this year again, it worked out really well, as we do this holiday challenge where we encourage people to weigh in before the holidays start, and then the goal is to not gain any weight. So whether they maintain their weight or they lose their weight over the holidays. The nice thing is, their name goes into a raffle if they maintain or even if they lose. So they don't have to, lose weight over the holidays. They can just kind of focus on maintaining it. And the nice thing is it does provide a lot of accountability. We see it worked out really well last year for people, and it seems to be working out really well this year. And, talking to people after the holidays when they come in to get their final weigh out, they do appreciate having that accountability. Like, okay, I had one cookie, I have to weigh in after the challenge. I want to make sure I can win the raffle or the prize. So, having that accountability is really, really helpful.
So what's the prize?
This year, it's going to be either a fancy scale, like a bioimpedance scale, or we're also letting them choose if they want to do one of our percent body fat devices, where it measures percent body fat. So they get their choice this year, which is nice because, if someone already has a nice scale and they want to do the percent body fat device, we can give them what they want.
So Sereen, how much water should we drink a day? And I'm hearing that if you drink water before you eat dinner or a lunch or whatever, it sort of fills your stomach and you don't eat as much. Is that true?
That is true, yes. We need 64 ounces of water a day as kind of our basic recommendation. Now, when we don't get enough water, we tend to eat a lot more because our body is telling us that we're hungry. It thinks that if I say I'm hungry, then maybe I'll get in some water, but it's actually just trying to tell you that it's thirsty. We don't know thirst until the late stages. So, if your tongue starts to get dry and you're thinking, I'm probably thirsty, that's not until the later stages of thirst that you notice that. So at first, it's just going to tell you that you're hungry. So I always tell people, if you start to feel hungry, drink some water, make sure it's not just a thirst hunger. But we do see people tend to consume a lot less calories when they do get that 64 ounces of water in. It's a huge thing. So it just helps preventing overeating, especially during the holidays.
Okay, so over the years, I've made the transition from, sugar drinks, Coke, whatever, to diet, okay, and now to water. And then it's very rare that I have any carbonated beverages. Maybe iced tea, with a little lemonade in it or something once in a while. But what do you do with these people that say, I can't drink water, I have to have something with sugar in it, or I have to have a diet beverage or something like that? What do you tell these people?
That's a great question. Now, I think nowadays it's easier for me to answer that question than if you would have asked me that 10 years ago. The food industry has evolved so much lately, especially the last 10 to 15 years. So we have so many options readily available. You can go to the store and get a can of, carbonated water, essentially, is what it is. They have all different brands, and they add things like stevia to them if you feel like, you need that flavoring, or they have natural flavors in them. So for someone that feels like, okay, I have to have that carbonation, I can't just do plain water, we'll recommend things like that. I try to encourage people, every other glass of water, if you feel like there's no way that I can drink water, every other glass of water, you could do a little bit of like a flavoring packet in there. It just depends what it is. Like I said, we like to recommend stevia more than anything else just because it's plant-based, it's natural. We find that our body digests it a little bit better. But there's all those options. Now, I will tell you, I have seen people turn a whole 180 degrees in regards to their water intake. When we change our eating habits and we slowly start to bring water into our diet, into our intake, our taste buds change, and then we actually do start to enjoy it a little bit more. I feel like, once we get a little bit away from those added sugars or those even, those sugar substitutes, we tend to enjoy water a little bit better.
It seems that there's more and more manufacturers that have moved to stevia in their drinks and that sort of thing. But it seems to be slow. You still pick up something every once in a while, and it's got some of the older sweeteners in it. After you've tasted stevia and anything, it just not disgusting is not the right word. It just doesn't have the right taste. I don't think so. That's kind of where I'm at on that. But I use stevia in the tea and coffee and stuff like that. So
your taste buds definitely have to adjust to the changes that you make. So it takes a little bit of time, but I always tell people kind of think long term, and it's more beneficial for you. So just kind of push through it a little bit is always my recommendation. And your taste buds will adjust, definitely. It takes a few weeks to develop a habit. So same thing with your taste buds. It takes a few weeks for you to get used to these changes, and you do eventually get used to it, which is nice.
I remember my father and my mother using saccharin, and I'm thinking, I tasted it once, and I said, oh my gosh, it's better to not even have any sugar sweetener.
Yeah.
But that was all that was available, 40, 50
You're right. You're right.
50 years ago. So.
Yeah, so I think food manufacturers are helping us out. I mean, I know growing up, I remember we didn't have any of these options. So, food manufacturers have really helped us out and changed the game in regards to all these different options that we have, which is nice.
They were tablets, and they were quarter grain and half grain and that sort of stuff.
Oh, my gosh.
the saccharin, you had a big bottle of all these 1,000 little pills in it, So, but I don't even know if it's around anymore.
I was just going to say, I don't even know if you could buy that.
Yeah. I mean, I think I still see it occasionally in a restaurant in a package. Everything in the restaurants now is packaged. The salt, the pepper, all that kind of stuff. But I think I still see it once in a while, saccharin in a package, and I could be wrong. But anyway. Yeah. So I've never baked a thing in my life. Okay, I don't think. Okay, I probably have cut cookies, whatever, as a kid. Where do we find recipes for stevia to bake with, to cook with, whatever?
The nice thing is all of that stuff is readily available online. You just kind of have to use your thought process with, okay, I'll type in, for example, Google, healthy holiday recipes or healthy holiday cookie recipes. And, some will have, more fat in it because they change the sugar up. And it's all based on the taste preference. You just kind of want to use your thought process, your common sense in the sense of like, okay, if we're switching to stevia, but they're adding whole milk instead of skim milk. Well, let me look at all these ingredients and how can I make this a little bit healthier? So can I still use whole milk? Can I still use skim milk in place of the whole milk? There are websites that are run by dietitians, which, definitely is nice. I always have patients bring in a recipe or email me a recipe, and I can review it for them and let them know, what would be a good alternative.
Nancy, who works with us, has really experimented with substitutes and stevia and that's in baking. She's really, some of the stuff is just, you can't tell the difference. So
I know.
It's amazing. So
it is. It takes a little bit of time to adjust.
Sure.
Just like anything else, but
sure.
It really does taste wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to take our final break here. You're listening to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy.
You're listening to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy and your hosts, pharmacists Paul White and Brad White. Remember, you can get more information right now by visiting medshoprx.com. That's medshop.rx.com. We'll be back with more of Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy in just a moment.
Is CBD oil right for you? That may seem like a simple question, but the answers don't come from a convenience food store or a mall kiosk. Your Medicine Center pharmacist is the most accessible healthcare professional. Our pharmacists have been trained to provide expert CBD oil information to tailor therapies like CBD capsules, tinctures, lotions, and ointments to your particular need. We have the highest quality, organic, Colorado-grown, non-GMO, full-spectrum CBD oil products. Visit the Medicine Center pharmacies in Canton, Louisville, Minerva, or New Philadelphia. You know us. We're the Half Off and Hot Buy store in Louisville. Our Christmas treat to you is 50% off of our already half-off Christmas seasonal merchandise on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Our lighted Christmas pictures are a knockout, and we have a huge inventory. Don't miss this sale. The Half Off and Hot Buy store in Louisville next to the Medicine Center Pharmacy. See us on Facebook and check our website, halfoffhotbuy.com. Hi, Paul White from the Medicine Center Pharmacy. In these difficult days, please stay calm and make sure your medical and healthcare supplies are well stocked. Make sure you have Kleenex, acetaminophen or Tylenol, ibuprofen or Advil, Mucinex, Robitussin or Dayquil, cough drops, maybe even a humidifier or a vaporizer. You can also just turn the shower on hot and sit in the bathroom breathing in the steam. How about vitamin D and a probiotic? And a good multivitamin like Linus Pauling Super Multivitamins that you'll find only in the Medicine Center pharmacies.
So take care of yourselves and don't stress about the coronavirus. Make sure you get plenty of rest and plenty of healthy food. The Medicine Center Pharmacy, Canton, Louisville, Minerva, and New Philadelphia.
Are you tired of spending time sorting your medication? Hi, pharmacist Paul White for the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Whether you are a caregiver or personally take medications, our pill packets will change how you take your medication forever. Instead of multiple pill bottles, you'll want to receive one easy dispensing box that contains all of your medications in individual packets. Organized by date, time, with instructions clearly labeled, it's simple, convenient, and safe. Call or stop by your local Medicine Center pharmacies in Canton, Louisville, Minerva, and New Philadelphia, where wellness begins.
You're listening to News Talk 1480 WHBC and Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy.
Welcome back to our final segment today. We're having a very interesting discussion with Sereen Zawahri Krasuna, registered and licensed dietitian and coordinator of Mercy Weight Management. She's really given us some tips here.
Well, those working from home probably are trying to follow a very different eating and snacking program than they were before. Mm-hmm. So what do you suggest to try to help people stick to some sort of routine so that they don't eat themselves into a corner, if you will?
Keep a structured routine is my best advice I could give to you. You know, just like if you were going to work, you're getting up at the same time, and a lot of us, you know, if we're working from home, we're typically going to get up at the same time because maybe we're going to log into our computers around the same time. So keep that routine structured because you will do so much better with that. And keep your eating time structured. That's really important. So, you know, have breakfast within that first hour of waking up. That's crucial. And, you know, stick with, okay, you know, at work I would have eaten lunch at noon. So at home I'm going to eat lunch at noon. Another tip I've shared with people, I've encouraged people to do is, you know, people would tell me, you know, patients would tell me that when they were working from the office, they only had whatever they packed with them. They didn't have access to their refrigerator, you know, 24/7 while they were working. So I said, okay, well, you know, that's a great thing to note. Take your lunch bag or, you know, get a container for your refrigerator and pack your lunch like you typically would if you were going to the office. But if you're working from home, then, you know, because you have so much access to food, you just open the refrigerator and you take your food, whether it's your lunch or your snacks that you already packed, and you put in that container in that lunch bag, and that's what you're going to eat during the day. So it's a great way to keep track of what you're eating as well, because I know we talked about that mindless eating, you know, not being in the right mindset. So, you know, you might be stressed working from home and you want to grab something, and if you're at work, you know, maybe you're limited to whatever's in the vending machine, or if there's nothing around you, then there's no option. So kind of having your lunch already prepared and your snacks already prepared to grab is really helpful. You know, we may not realize if we go to the pantry and we grab a handful of nuts and we grab, you know, maybe a little, you know, bite-sized candy treat that was left over from Halloween. You know, it's easy for those things to add up without us realizing, and that can cause our weight to go up. So keep that structure and keep that routine, and it's so much easier if you do that.
What about lack of sleep? How does that affect our healthy outlook?
That can really mess up our hormones when we don't get enough sleep. You have two hormones that regulate your appetite. So you have leptin, which actually suppresses your appetite. Now, with leptin, if you don't get enough sleep, that's going to decrease, okay? And then you have ghrelin, which is another hormone that stimulates appetite, and that increases if you don't get enough sleep. So, you know, your hormone that tells you that you're full is going to go down, and your hormone that tells you that you're hungry is going to go up. So with that, you're kind of setting yourself off balance as it is. You know, you're kind of setting yourself up for a rough time and a rough day. And then, you know, when you're tired, you don't really make as well of, you know, as good of decisions, I should say. So that's kind of, you know, what you want to be careful about. Just like, you know, when you're stressed, a lot of times we don't choose the best option or we don't make the best decision. So same thing with our sleep. You know, we're up, if we don't get enough sleep, we're up for a longer period of time, which means that's more hours for us to be eating something. You just have to be cautious of that.
Any other tips or tricks for us to navigate holiday eating?
Oh, I got plenty. How much time do you have?
Well, we have about 6 minutes.
All right, I'll limit myself then.
All right, are we allowed to eat turkey? Are we allowed to eat ham? Are we allowed to eat certain vegetables and not certain vegetables? Where are we at here?
So I would be cautious with ham because of the extra salt, especially with the ham. You know, we tend to get in a little bit more salt throughout the holidays, and we can kind of balloon up that way, and that causes the weight on the scale to go up. You know, it's harder for your heart to have to pump that salt molecule throughout your body because it pulls fluid with it. So, you know, I always kind of say stick with the leaner proteins like the turkey. You know, the nice thing nowadays is that air fryers are so popular, and everyone is loving, you know, when they make their food in the air fryer. So if you typically, you know, fry your food, why not try the air fryer? And it's a great way to still give you that taste and that texture, but not have those added calories from fat of frying. So that's kind of a great way to, you know, make your holiday eating just a little bit healthier. Try not to skip your meal. So if you know, okay, we're having, you know, a big Christmas dinner tonight or whatever it may be, try not to go all day without eating, because that tends to lead to overeating when you do actually eat, because you realize at that point how hungry you are. So I tell people, you know, every day, even Christmas morning, you know, whatever it may be, you still want to have your breakfast, you still want to have your lunch, and you still want to have your dinner. Okay, so if you know your meal is going to be at lunchtime, still have your breakfast. Now, you may not need an elaborate breakfast. It doesn't have to be that big, but you know, you still want to have that breakfast option. And then you have your lunch, and then, you know, you'll have maybe a smaller dinner later that evening. But the more that you skip it, the more likely that you are to overeat. So, you know, just kind of be cautious. You know, we encourage people to exercise a little bit, especially if you know, okay, I'm probably going to have a little bit more food today than I typically would. It would be a great time to get in some exercise. And if you have kids, you know, it's great to get some of their energy out by exercising, especially, you know, with the weather. We don't know if it's going to be cold or not. So it's a great way to, you know, get their blood flowing, to get some of their energy out, you know, during the day. So you can do an exercise video, an exercise machine. You can go on YouTube and find so many different, you know, exercise routines to follow, which is nice. And then, like we just kind of talked about, just don't forget your water intake. You know, you don't want to overeat because you're thirsty. So it's a great way to cut back on calories that way, and kind of keep your body hydrated as well.
Are there any foods that help fight off the viruses? I mean,
fruits and vegetables are going to give you those nutrients that your body really needs to kind of keep your immune system up. You know, berries are a really good source of antioxidants, so those are going to be great. Vitamin C rich foods like oranges are wonderful as well. So, you know, those are things to incorporate. You know, water intake is really important as well, just to kind of keep your body hydrated. You know, and I'm sure as pharmacists, you guys, I heard one of your commercials during the break about, you know, what kind of supplements, vitamins to take to help boost your immune system too.
Yeah, don't overlook your vitamin Ds.
Yeah, vitamin Ds, zinc, that sort of stuff. Hey, we're kind of tight on time. What if I step on the scale and I'm really not happy with my weight? What's my immediate? What can I do?
Call me.
Okay. All right.
And how do we reach you?
Yeah, how do we reach
you? So we are, you know, always there to help. We're in the office Monday through Thursday. You can give our office, Mercy Weight Management, a call, 330-588-4854. Or you can even visit our website just to kind of see what we offer. And that would be www.cantonmercy.org/weight loss. It kind of goes over all the different options that we have, and you could submit your information, and we can, you know, email you back with, you know, some information that we have. But it's important to kind of think back. You know, if you step on a scale and you're like, oh, shoot, I had gained 5 pounds over the holidays, kind of think back to what you had. Think about, why do you think you gained the weight? Do you think it was because you didn't drink enough water? Do you think it was because, you know, you weren't in the right mindset? You know, what are the reasons why you feel that way? And, you know, working with one of us dietitians, a lot of times we have you kind of give us some goals that you have in mind. So I think in general, if you set some goals for yourself, you could do this now to get through the holidays or afterwards, but, set small goals. If you're saying, okay, I probably gained this weight because I didn't drink enough water. Well, let's start incorporating more water. So maybe, week 1, you focus on, try to get a little bit more water in and build up to the 64 ounces. And once you feel comfortable with that, then set another goal for yourself. So maybe you're thinking, okay, well, I probably gained weight because I didn't eat my vegetables. Well, that's a great, point to get across is, okay, we need those vegetables. We need that fiber to tell us that we're full. So why not start to incorporate that? Maybe start it at dinner, and then once you feel comfortable with dinner, incorporate some to your lunch. So setting those small goals will eventually lead to the bigger goal of weight loss or eating healthy.
Thank you very much. Sereen Zawahri Krasuna, registered and licensed dietitian and coordinator of Mercy Weight Management. We'd like to remind our listeners, if you suspect you have a medical issue, please contact your healthcare provider. Thanks to Mercy Medical Center, Studio Arts and Glass, and of course our socially distant technical producer, J.D. DeAngelis. As always, we thank your listeners for joining us on Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Have a healthy week, and we'll see you again next Friday right here on News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy and your hosts, your pharmacists Paul White and Brad White. Remember, you can get more information right now at medshoprx.com. That's medshop.rx.com. Be sure to join us next Friday at this time for Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. The preceding program was sponsored by the Medicine Center Pharmacy.
Oh, I think Christmas is one of the best times of the year.
All the best this holiday season.
Hey, this is Larry Gothrop, General Manager of WHBC AM and FM, and I want to wish all our listeners, all our clients, all our fans, and our enormously great staff a happy and joyous holiday season, and I hope everyone stays well.
And I'm Pam Cook. We'd like to wish you and yours all the best this holiday season on News Talk 1480 WHBC.